while after you get through a message, some people say you did a great job, and now people have learned, don't say you did a great job, because next Sunday it might not be great, and I don't want to have to back out on him, so I'll just nod every once in a while, give a love offering. If I don't like the message, take that in half. And so sometimes once you've been chosen by God to speak what God says speak, you people ask me, how can you tell? Because if you're chosen, you can endure it. Let me tell you why. God will put something in you. We call it anointing, his spirit, his love, his compassion, his wall. He'll build you up in it so that sometimes even things that are supposed to break you down, they actually break your light. I went to, I think it was a circus or something one time. Maybe it was, I don't even know where it was. I had a little glow stick, but the glow stick wouldn't even glow until you broke it. And when you broke it, it didn't come apart, it just lit up. Anybody ever heard of something like that? I don't know what that, it was something that I had. And so it was a natural little thing, but you break it, the plastic would, and then light would come from it. You'd have to be in the dark to see it. But it didn't work until it was broken. And I believe when God has chosen you, the first thing he does is puts this light in you so that when you're hurt, people can't see your light until they break your spirit. So now John has been chosen. And just me saying that is enough to get some people a little uptight, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight, being chosen. To be loved means to be chosen. The sense of being chosen is one of the very best gifts that love puts on that person who is the beloved. It means someone has seen me in a unique way, and they have seen me as a unique person. Somebody say, being chosen. Say that. Okay, I want to let you know what we're talking about. And when I'm chosen, it means that someone desires to come closer to me, to be on the same side as I'm on, if I'm right or even if I'm wrong. Being chosen means someone is being on my same side. Someone believes that I have a significant contribution to make if I am chosen. Now you've got to go way out of the box, because you're going to be chosen for some things that are no good, but they chose you. On the other hand, there is no pain like the pain of not being chosen. Okay, so you don't want to write that part down. I'll keep going. There is no gift like being chosen. There is no pain like rejection. And when a reject is chosen by somebody else, a life gets changed. When a reject gets chosen by somebody else, a life gets changed. I could really end the message right there and go home. That I know you're writing it down, but that right there, that ought to be the story of the body of Christ. When a reject gets chosen by somebody else, a life is changed. There's a book that I was reading called The Whisper Test. And I decided tonight to give you a little clip from it. Maybe it'll bless a child or an adult. And in the Whisper Test, it says, I grew up knowing I was different, and I hated it. I was born with a cleft palate. And when I started school, my classmates made it clear to me how I looked to others. A little girl with a misshapen lip, crooked nose, lopsided teeth, and gargled speech. When schoolmates asked what happened to your lip, I would tell them that I'd fallen and cut it on a piece of glass. Somehow it seemed more acceptable to have suffered an accident than to have been born different. I was convinced that no one outside my family could love me. There was, however, a teacher in the second grade whom we all adored. Mrs. Leonard was her name. She was short, round, happy, a sparkling lady. Annually, we had a hearing test. Mrs. Leonard gave the test to everyone in the class, and finally it was my turn. I knew from past pains that as we stood against the door and covered one ear, the teacher sitting at her desk would whisper something and we would have to repeat it back. Things like, "The sky is blue." And the kid would say, "The sky is blue." Or things like, "Do you have new shoes?" And we would say, "Do you have new shoes?" I waited there for those words that God must have put in her mouth, those 7 words that changed my life. Miss Leonard said in her whisper, "I wish you were my little girl." Love whispers, "I chose you." Love whispers, "I chose you." I chose you. I want to be on your side. And for ragged people, for people with misshapen spirits, crooked hearts, lopsided souls, when love says, "I've chosen you," this is life. That's when it starts over again. It's sort of hard to explain how you could be a part of a ministry like this when people realize that just a few pages back in your life you were misshapen, lopsided, and crooked. But he chose you. Can I go on tonight? I want to talk about being chosen for a minute. Brothers, you can have a seat, please. I need your undivided attention. There are 4 factors that I want to talk about being chosen. 3 of them are positive and 1 of them is negative. I want to talk about being chosen. Because if you ever want to get people in a church fired up, let them not be chosen. Most of you have already developed very angry spirits because you don't think you were chosen. You don't see that you're still maturing. You just see that you haven't been. My grandson has started to develop this wonderful sensation, and I think a great habit. He loves alone. And so whenever he's around me, the first thing he usually asks for when he sees me is, "Loan, loan." I go, "What?" I didn't know it at first. Of course, I taught him the word, didn't know he caught on. But he said, "Loan." And so he holds up his wrist and says, "Loan." And so I'll take out some cologne and I'll spray it on his wrist. He takes it, rubs it together, smells it, because he loves to smell the loan. Loan. So in the car, I have loan. In the desk, I have loan. In his room, I have loan. Wherever he goes, I have loan. In his bag, I have loan. Because sometimes when he does different things, being a boy, I have to put some loan on first. So as we go to the mall and I started walking through, he starts to see this loan, and he asked the lady, loan? And so the woman is trying to convince me to buy him some loan. I said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But what I suggest you do is give him a tester. See, some of you are not at the 5.0 level yet. What you ought to be grateful for is God says, I'm going to let you test what you think you want. Because once you're chosen, there's no going back in the bottle. Let me give you some factors, some facts to look at about being chosen. Number one, when I'm chosen, and this is you talking, this is us talking. When I'm chosen, I'm seen as unique. When I'm chosen, I am seen as unique. I am seen as unique. When I am chosen, I am seen as unique. Now, objects are sometimes distinguishable from each other. Objects are indistinguishable because one brick could sometimes look like all the other bricks. And bricks can basically be replaced. Something knocks out or something, you just find the pattern and get some other bricks and put in there because they all have the same kind of unusual design. But each human cries out to be noticed as special and not just one of the same, which is sometimes what makes teenagers or different generations, not just teenagers, some of you are not teenagers, but you cry out to be seen as unique. You know all you had to do was brush your hair back, but what you did was put a piece of it forward. Now you know it's not cute, but you just want to be seen as unique. So somebody will look at you, they don't want to say it's ugly, they'll just say, no, that's different. And that's really all you wanted, was to be seen as unique. So now that you've gotten one person's attention, tomorrow you may put some green in it. The next day you may put a little piece of mousse on it, make it stiffer. Sometimes people who don't know what to say about what you're wearing will not say something that everybody else is saying. They'll just say, now that's different, and you got your own style. And so as far as you're concerned, that's what you wanted because you wanted to be chosen or seen as unique. And when I'm chosen, I'm seen as unique. Remember that. The second thing, when I'm chosen, I'm recognized as someone who has something to contribute. When I'm chosen, I'm seen as someone who has something to contribute. And so once somebody tells you that you have something to contribute, you think that everywhere you go, you have something to contribute. Now you think you have the right to go to the grocery store and tell them where the tomatoes ought to go. Just because someone chose you before to ask you your opinion, and they kind of valued it because they knew that you had something that you said, maybe you learned it at church or somewhere else. The problem was they have never dealt with you when they didn't agree with you. I'll let you write down that. That's a lot I said. My uniqueness is positive. I have a gift that will make me, it'll just sort of make a difference in my life. I'll put it that way. I have something to me that will help the team. And so if I'm chosen, I'm recognized as someone who has something to contribute. Chosen people are significant people. Their biographies are written, their books are written, and their stories are sometimes noticed. A third thing, when I'm chosen, and please when you take these notes or get this CD or these messages, please listen to this over and over and over again. It is far too much for you to take in to just say, oh, I got it, and then halfway through it, now I know why they didn't choose me. Come on, you got to grow up. This is meat tonight. We are you don't even put this in a juicer. I can't dilute it. You got to have teeth to chew this one. Okay, I'm not going to juice this one to you and then give you a chance to suck it down a straw and just look for the flavor and not get the nutrients and spit it out because it doesn't taste good. I want you to chew it. I want you to season it. God has spent a lot of time cooking this for us. But the third thing I want you to understand about being chosen, when I'm chosen, it means somebody wants me. Look at your list now. Look at your list. Number one, when I'm chosen, I am seen as unique. Number two, when I'm chosen, I'm recognized as someone who has something to contribute. And number three, when I'm chosen, it means that somebody wants me. I've had the chance to interview, to talk to deal with people who have come to the Lord, who have done all kind of weird things in life. Boys who were chosen for a gang, women who were chosen by a group of guys to perform different acts. And I asked, why do you think the boys chose you? Why do you think the guys chose you? Why do you think the gang chose you? And after talking with several young women and several young men, I always hear the same thing. Well, when they chose me, I was seen as unique. Maybe I had a different shape. Maybe I had a different twist. Maybe I could do a different trick. I was recognized as somebody who had something to contribute because I would do things that the other girls and guys wouldn't dare do. Or I was chosen because somebody really wanted me. I'm not isolated. I'm not unconnected. When I'm chosen, it seems like I'm desired and I belong. So even if it's not the right thing, because I've been chosen, I feel good about it. I'm going to prosper because of it. People are going to know my name, or at least know who I am, even if I never tell them my name. When God chooses us, he imparts all the good implied by the choosing. I chose you, but I also, before I chose you, I put something in you. And as you live, see, somebody else will see what I put in you, and they will choose you before you know your value. And so that when I need you, you're no longer available because you've been robbed before you were discovered. Oh, I'm talking fast. I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe you got robbed before you got discovered. And when God called you, what he needed had been stolen and you thought it was chosen.